guys, we're back at another What You Say series. So today we have Iantha, you all know her as Yanni, and we have Samuel Dyer. So say hello to our guests. Say hello, say hello. Today, I know last week we had Nisa, but today we have these two, and we are continuing marriage. So I just want to ask them to just give a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll go on. So Yanni, tell me about yourself.
All right, well, my name is Iantha Narace, Yanni, any which one. And I've been married for 6 years. My husband is Aaron Narace. Yes. What else do you need to know? I'm a teacher. My husband is into IT and all the technical stuff. That's his job. And yeah.
All right. Samuel?
Well, my name is Samuel Dyer. I've been married 15 years.
Wow.
That's a long time, right?
Yeah.
My wife is Juliet Dyer. I have 3 kids. I have an 11-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So 2 boys and a girl. I'm a singer, worship leader, and that's it.
Wow, wow. So last week we spoke and Nisa gave her idea on what marriage is. So can you all tell me what you all think is marriage?
Well, for me, marriage is just a part of your life, a continuation of your life with a partner, pursuing your purpose. You know, just for me. You know, for me, in my backstory is that I was never one of the little girls like real, gonna get married. I was never that. I'm so sorry. You know, getting married was a very tough thing for me. Like, I didn't even know how I wanted my hair. I didn't know how I wanted to dress. I never dreamed about it. So it was tough in that way. So my whole marriage is like a big friendship for me that I need, you know, to help me be who I am and continue the purpose that God has given to me. So that's...
Wow. You're trying to make me teary up in here. All right, Sammy, you go ahead.
Well, for me, marriage is a union that God has placed together. But for my marriage, we've been married for a long time, but we've been friends for about 25 years. So since 10 years old, I knew my wife. We were in the same class together. We went to the same church, so we literally grew up together.
Wow.
So when I got married, I knew the person. I knew the person a long time. So that's why I think it's something that God placed together. Yeah. I believe that. That's my thing.
And you know, both of you all said the same thing, friends. And I really believe that when you know the person before and have that friendship, I think when the marriage comes now, it makes it a little easier. What do you all say?
I believe so. Yeah. It makes the relationship easier. I believe there are 3 different types of love, and that friendly love is very, very important in a relationship or in a marriage. So it's always important that you have that friendship. See, a lot of times, especially in this time, people have this type of taboo that don't marry their friend. Yeah. But it's very important in your marriage that your spouse is your friend. I don't know. For me, I believe in that.
100%. For me, 100%. You know, I know that, you know, when you get into like somebody, you get into somebody, you feel the butterflies, and people have these expectations that, you know, it should always be like, ooh, and he had to be this way, and she had to be that way, and whatever. And I have found in my relationship with my husband, the best thing he could be for me is my friend. Talk real, let me get down to brass tacks, right? That's what we saying, right. No butterflies. And that is so much more valuable to me than this outward thing that the world, and I have to say it like that, the world is pushing. Because sometimes, I know we're probably not going here, but sometimes, you know, you may be in a single place. You have a friend who you could rely on, a guy or somebody of the opposite sex, and you know you would never watch a person as wife material because you're looking and you're waiting for that. Oh,
Knight in shining
you know,
armor to
yeah,
come
to
down.
come your way, you know, and maybe that self is the person who will look out for you for the rest of your life, you know, but you're still looking for the butterflies and the whole Hollywood thing now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, the butterflies will be there at the beginning.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah.
But that butterfly, I always tell
Fly
folk, that
away.
butterfly feeling, after a while, it fades.
Yes.
And that is not love. People think that that butterfly feeling is love, but it's not love. I would say it's a part of it. It's a part of the journey, but that is not love.
Let me ask this question because I'm laughing sitting down here. You all think God gives us what we want or what we need?
Both. I will go with both. That's my answer. That's my final answer. Oh, sorry.
I would say the same thing, both. What we need.
Right, so here this joke. When Christian and I were friends since I was 10 years old, we were friends. And I didn't like him in that kind of way. It's like, you know, bro love, sis love, that's it, friends, right. And I remember a Sunday morning he was playing. And I heard, look to your right.
Oh, dear.
And I looked to my right, and I'm seeing Christian, and we are looking at each other. And I hear, that's the one.
Oh, dear.
And this is me. No way. Never. I was so angry. I was like, God, why? You know, I wanted this blue eye kind of, you know, I don't imagine.
Yeah, the image.
And then a week after, I just saw him in church. I was like, wow. Look, wow. So
You get butterflies? Did you get butterflies?
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
I was like, my gosh, what? I never see Christian like that before. Like, hello? So yeah, but we want to get to this question, and I think couples are struggling with this. Conflict resolution. Yani, Sammy, you know, when conflicts arise, how would you all deal with it as a married Christian couple?
You want to go?
No, before the question, you know, I think that we have to understand that everybody's coming from a different culture.
I agree with you.
Everybody, even if all his neighbors, your household have a culture,
Yeah.
his household have a culture. And I feel we need to understand what propels and what brings conflict in relationships.
Okay.
Once you're dealing with people, they will have conflict. You know, it mightn't be big or major, but you will
Yeah.
still have conflict. So we were talking about this before, you know, in terms of I come from a totally different home from my husband. So how we deal with conflict in my home, listen. Right? Listen. Is you say what you have to say, open your mouth and you just
that's it.
say. Right? And then we talk, everybody saying, all right, good, we good. We going back laughing. He didn't come from that. So I could not go into my marriage thinking, well, this is how it's going to be. And think he was wrong for not understanding my way of conflict or my way of resolving issues.
Yeah.
So I feel like even before you start resolving issues, is really to understand how your spouse, what is conflict to him? Because for me, putting a shoe there mightn't be conflict, but to him,
Yeah.
a shoe. Why she put her shoe there?
Exactly.
That might be conflict. So what are the triggers? That's so
Yes.
important to understand, because if you understand your wife or understand your husband, you need to know, okay, this triggers him or this triggers her, and not say, well, oh, you can't get over that one to you, oh gosh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Realistically, that is what a lot of people do, because they think that is so menial. Why you getting offended for that? That's so small, but to that person, that is a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think it's about understanding each other and
Correct.
learning each other's faults and weaknesses and
Correct.
learning to work with each other. And
Yeah.
that is the best way I could say to resolve, you know, conflict. For me, I am a type of person, I don't like conflict and I don't like to deal with conflict. So one of my issues and one of my weaknesses is not saying nothing. Or just go silent. And I know a lot of men have that type of
Yeah.
way, you know, you're vexed, you're upset about something, so you just throw it to the back of you. And that's something that I'm still dealing with it today. My wife she don't like conflict, she don't like arguing, but she will more address certain matters. And you know, as a typical man, I'd be like, "Yeah, babes," and just listen and say nothing or try to ignore the situation. But that does not work most of the times. So sometimes, like my wife and I, once we fall out, I would just say nothing. And she wouldn't say nothing. And then we would talk for a little while and then we'll come back and love up after. So that is how I deal with it. It's not the right way, so I'm not going to tell everybody to deal with it.
Like
That's the right way to deal with a situation. But like you said, each person is different. So you must learn your spouse. You must learn your husband. You must learn your wife. Learn how to deal with them, how to speak to them. So it's really about making that compromise and working it out.
And go ahead.
I was going to add to that too because, like, I feel some couples feel if you sweep it under the carpet, it's gone.
No, it's not gone.
Or if you sweep it under the carpet, it's like, all right, we're good now. We just want to get back to when we're good. But conflict is a part of growth as well.
Yes, it is.
It is.
You know, conflict is a part of growth. And it's never nice. It's just, you know, it's never like, it'll make you feel, oh, we have a conflict now. I'm so happy. You would never feel like that. You know, you would never feel like that. You would always feel like, oh my God, do we have to go through this? But those are the things that make your marriage stronger. And like in my marriage, my husband is just like you. Like seriously, right? He is quiet. I know that something will be bothering him, but he will not come out and say anything. And the problem with that is it will pile up until you, boom, one day explode.
Yep,
And the
that's
problem
it.
with me now is that my mouth big. So I will be like, what is going on? You know, and then because I am loud, he will just go back into his thing. And that literally does not solve anything. Me being outward like that.
Yes.
So my strategy is, don't tell him I tell all of this. Oh, sorry, just kidding. Just kidding. My strategy is we will have a family meeting. You know, you have a time to write down what it is you're upset about, what it is bothering you. So you're not trying to, if the shoe bother you, you're not going to be like, move the shoe one time and create a whole, even though he's not going to do that. I probably most likely will do that, right? And you write down your issues, and then you have a family meeting and you talk about it when you are not angry about it.
Yes.
So that's a thing, that's something that I think works because of the two different cultures coming together. And we talk about it honestly, and we try not to interrupt each other, right? If he says, you know, I find you just be talking and cutting him off, I am just going to listen to that. And listening to what he said, I'm not going to say, but you, you know, I'm not going to do that because then that's defeating the whole purpose of resolving conflict.
I agree with you.
You know, so I'm just going to listen. I ain't lying. It's hard. Right? It's hard because, you know, you want so much things running through your mind. Like, you know, I remember the last time when you cut me, but you can't remember I cut you, right? Anyhow, you know, so, and then I will say my part, he will say his part, and then, you know, we come together and we say what we have to do. I can't tell you what you have to do to improve. Let me say what I have to do to improve me, and you improve you, and then we come together now and we, you know? So
And
that's
I
our
think a lot of us like to play the blame game.
I
Because
agree with you.
when my husband and I fall out, same thing. He's the quiet one. Quiet, he not saying anything. We talking. You hearing me? No answer me. You hearing me? And then when it just blow up now, both of us upset. We not talking to each other. It's like madness. Until I had to say, Chris, here what's going on? You take space, I take space. You understand? Not leave the home, but all right, if you think going in your room and just locking the door and I stay outside, listen to music will help, and then we come and talk. And I realized that working a little bit.
Yeah.
Not fully. But Sam, you have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because you're the man here. Why it is you all don't want to come out and talk, say how you really feel?
I can't speak for every man.
Yeah.
Because I have friends that are outspoken and like to talk as men. But there are some men, they don't like to express themselves. I don't know. I think men are very, very particular. If a woman or someone throws something in their face, they will close up. A man would more close up and say nothing. Even if an argument occur and you win the argument, it doesn't mean that the man or he's back to normal hugging you up. It doesn't mean that he overcome that situation.
Forgets. Yeah.
He would just hold it up and hold it up. And I know a lot of marriages are messed up because of that, because of men not speaking. Not only that, I believe that some women have a lot of words. And and as men, we can't process all them words so quickly. So sometimes we can't win the argument because we don't have all them words to back up. So sometimes what I think what some women could do is don't, yeah.
That was Hashem you was going to say.
You have to give the man time to speak and don't interrupt when he speaks. And give him that time to express himself because he might have all the words to say and all of that. And that is when he will slowly open up. For me personally, I would come home and I had a horrible day. And it would take me about 3 days before I could literally speak about it to my wife. And it's not because I don't want to tell her anything. It's just that I'm the type of person, when I go through something, it takes a while before I finally come out and say it. Even certain things, like my wife will say, you never told me that. I didn't tell her yet. So that's one of my issues. I take long to process things until I'll come out and say, babes, you know, this happened, and you know, this person get me so upset, and I was so mad, and all of that. Sometimes 2-3 days after. That's me. If I come home and I have a lot on my plate and my wife come and say, what happened? What's going on? That, to me, that is more badgering. And nothing. I would say it was good. It was all right. I wouldn't have nothing to say. But let me tell you, about 4 days after, then I will start speaking. So everybody is different in their different ways of dealing with things. But for me, that's how I deal with it.
Wow. As you say that there, I remember now getting married and just probably the first 2 weeks. And I just see Christian sitting there. What happened? Nothing. What you thinking? Nothing. So why you getting on like that? Nothing. You want me to leave you alone? Yeah. What is that? And I started to say, am I the cause? Am I the issue? Am I the problem? And then I started to do my own research, and then I learned that men just have this nothing box. This man cave that they're going to where it's just nothing. They think about literally nothing.
I think we just want that time alone where we could just do nothing. It's very important that we have that space. And if we don't have that space, so sometimes you come, what you have to do is, especially if your husband is, don't want to talk, don't ask him too much questions. Wait till he come out of that zone, and then you could speak. But what you could do is encourage him. You okay? If he's saying nothing, you just, you want something to eat, or you could just, you know, or everything is going to be all right. I'm here for you. These type of encouraging words, and then after a while, when he calms down, then he will be able to open up. But if you keep chucking and saying, open the door, open the door, open the door, open the door, you're not speaking to me, you're not talking to me, you just never tell me that, blah, 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 he's going to close up even more. So the best thing for you to do, and I'm talking for women, you know, who have men who don't say much and they just keep to themselves. What your approach have to be different. You can't be too, you have to learn what to say, how to say it, and that is when the man will start opening up.
All right, go ahead, Yanni.
I was just going to agree because, and it's not about men or women, it's about the introverts and the extroverts.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's about the introvert because, as he said, you may have male friends who would be an extrovert, and there would be women who are introverts as well in their marriage, or just generally, you know. You cannot expect somebody to be like how you are. This is what I have learned because I am a very forward person. I would talk. bring life. Yeah, hey, life everywhere I go. And then my husband is an introvert. So I have to learn now how to hush my mouth.
And say that.
Hush my no, I'm just being very honest,
Yes,
guys,
I
right?
know.
Sometimes we as women, or let me just say women, we as the extroverts, whoever you
Yeah.
are, male, female, sometimes the extrovert always wants an answer and always wants the other person to think as quick as you might think.
Yep.
Respond as quick as you might
Yeah.
respond.
Yep.
Behave like you. But it's a different person.
Yeah.
So could you just give the person their time to be and you be in your understand who you are, and understand who they are, and you be in your corner. The
That is
person's
so
not
true.
angry.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with them. They just need their time.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
fine. You know?
A week, only a week, a week, a week. But I have one more question to ask before we go. As ministers, functioning in ministry in your home church, wherever you are, how do you balance your family with ministry?
It's challenging for me. It's challenging. I remember asking a few spiritual leaders about it. How do I balance ministry and my family? And they was like, it's a challenging thing to do sometimes. I honestly believe that family comes first. It is the first ministry. If you look in the beginning, God created the family first. And then after the church. So family comes first. So I try my best. I'm not perfect.
We all
I'm
are.
not perfect.
Yes, that's true.
But I try my best to balance it. At times it's difficult to me.
Yeah.
It is difficult. My wife is the type of person that she wants me around all the time. But I'm always on the go. And my ministry is always going and doing stuff. My kids are like her. My son Jonathan, 7 years old, he was like, Daddy, you always going. Where you going now? Come home. So everybody now just be like, where you going now? So I try. I have to explain to them, Daddy, you have to work. If you want this. I was explaining to my 7-year-old. I said, Daddy, you have to work. If you see Daddy always going, if Daddy have to work, you have to, and you need a new bed, and you want all these games for Christmas, Daddy have to work. So Daddy have to go to church and work. So he was like, oh, so if you go to 4 churches, you can make plenty money.
Children, eh?
So he was like, so he told my wife, Daddy going to work, Daddy going to church to make plenty money. I was like, oh Lord, he just...
For me, and I agree that ministry, your family is your first ministry.
Yeah.
Striking a balance. I mean, it's so commendable when a family is in ministry together. When a couple, they're in ministry together,
Yes,
and all
it
of that
is.
is
It makes
real
it
commendable.
easier.
It makes it easier because you guys, you could talk about what's going on, you could talk about solutions, how we could bring, make the ministry better and all of that. But for me, balance. If you realize that, you haven't been around and these kind of things, take time. Saying no is really important. Being able to say no at what point,
Yeah.
particular time, But for me too, as I was explaining to Sammy before, for me, like going all over with Axia, traveling out of the country and all of that, my husband literally understands that because, I mean, since he was a teen, he's been in music and all of that. So he know about that gigging, going here and there. So for him, it's like, all right, cool, you're going here, pack your bass, because it's like all the bass, the guitar, all right, you do your thing there. So he kind of understands that. We have no kids, so he kind of understands, like, all right, she had to go, so let's go, let's pack up. He understands that. I'll call and say, babe, yo, this thing now start, whatever. He'd be like, yeah, no scene. And again, I'm an extrovert, he's an introvert. He's probably so glad that the house is so quiet.
Yes.
Because he'd be like, ooh, I could get a mix now. Let me go on my computer and do what I have to do. But when I don't have to, I don't.
Okay.
When I don't, because sometimes we feel like we holding up everything. If we're
Yeah.
not there, God ain't gonna move. If we're
Exactly.
not there,
I agree
the
with you.
worship ain't gonna be great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You are not God, as Christine Kane like to say, you are not the fourth part of the Trinity.
Yeah.
So calm down. If you don't have to go, stay home and
Stay
do,
home.
I
do,
agree
do
with
your
you
family.
100%. I remember working in a ministry where if I'm not there, the spirit will not move. And I honestly was abused,
Yeah.
where my wife came to me and said, when last we went out,
Wow.
I was just going, and I had to leave the ministry
Yeah.
because of that, because and there are some churches, not all of them, but some of them, they abuse the membership, have them working,
Monday
working,
to Sunday.
Monday to Sunday,
Wow.
non-stop. And I learned over the years to say, here, well, no, I'm not available. I can't. No, that's enough days for you. So I learned that the hard way, because at
Yeah.
first it was like, yes. I always had a problem saying no.
Oh, okay.
Right? So now it's a little different now. So I've learned to say no. And of course, the pandemic was a blessing.
A blessing in disguise.
There were no gigs.
Yeah.
There were no church service. I was home right through, so that was a blessing. And I enjoy being home with the family and stuff. I was like, ooh, this is
nice.
good. Well, yeah. So
Wow.
it was a blessing.
Wow. And you see, it's also important to have a vision partner.
Yeah.
And just last week, we said the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, you're asking God for a husband, you're asking God for a wife. But when you get a husband or a wife, that's what you asked for. But you didn't go in detail. I want somebody who will understand my vision. The vision. So that is important. That
That's
is really important. So you all have anything else to say before we wrap it up?
I just like that what you said there, because pre-marriage, these are conversations that you want to have.
That's very important.
Real important, like who I am and what I'm going toward, and stop all this frivels. Sorry guys, I'm very practical. Stop all this frivels. I love you and I love you. You're so sweet, I'm all known, so nice and all of that nonsense, right? That's cool. That's all that is good. But let me get down to the brass tacks here. Let's get down to the brass. So I realize you're not involved in things. So what it is you want to do, how you think, get and talk about these things. Because sometimes you find the perfect person. Oh, they're so nice and whatever. And when you get into it now and you realize, okay, God is like pulling me to a ministry, and you realize the call of God is like getting stronger and stronger in your life. And the other person is like, well, I score she score me, No kind of conversation as to what we doing here. Remember, we are God's representatives on the earth. So we have to partner together to do what it is God wants us to do. So you have a clue what you want to do. I have to have a clue what I want to do, and we come together.
I agree
and
with
do
you
what we need to do.
100%. That is so important. And a lot of times people will get into marriage because the person look good, them like them, and it's all that.
And they're on
but
fire.
Not understanding, okay, this is the direction. I have seen marriages mess up or fall apart because of that. Even some of these high-profile gospel ministers and stuff. Even in the States, I remember Marvin Winans when he was married to Vicky Winan, and their marriage fall apart because God was leading him in to become a pastor, and she did not want that. I never wanted to be a pastor's wife. That's not something I wanted. So it's always important to know who you're getting married to and understand what direction you're going, and make sure that person wants to go into that direction, because it's going to be serious conflict between each other because of that.
I just want to say one last thing about that, because you remember in marriage is two become one. And yes, you have that interdependence, but you also have the independence. And we should never, for me, when you're married, you're not single, right? You're not, when I say, that's obvious, but your mentality should not be a single mentality.
It should be selfish.
Right? So I'm not saying, well, God calling me to be a dancer, so hard luck for you. You could stay home there if you want. So it's like sometimes we married, but we still have that independent thinking, but it's to become one. So if it is that he or she doesn't understand where you're going, come on, talk about it, pray about it. Say, this is the work it out. This is where I'm going, what you think. I want it to be a part. He don't have to be, the person don't have to be a dancer like me, but, let's talk about it and understand. So sometimes we want to do our own thing and leave the person behind. Like if we are one entity.
That is another issue there. That is another issue there.
Wow.
Yep. it's both sides, both
Correct, correct.
angles.
So
I love that
independence
angle.
is good, but interdependence is equally important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Wow, wow. We had a lot of food today, guys. I don't know. We could have part two. Can we have part two?
anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a part two to this. So, guys, it was nice, and we're ending the series here today of What You Say. Bye!